Hello, and welcome to Sarah's Guest House. My name is Mavi Zua. I'm Sarah's son, and today I'm privileged to have my two daughters with me, Sarah Zua and Samantha Zua, Sarah's granddaughters, and they are going to ask me some questions.
Question number 1. Who was Ma Sarah?
Sarah was a single woman from rural Liberia who defied the odds by coming to the city, building a business, educating her children and grandchildren, and leaving a legacy. And I mean defied it all because she was not educated. She didn't have no formal education. And during those days when she came to the city, women had no right in Liberia, especially in Africa, especially in Liberia. But she came and she defied every odds against her, and she became successful.
Why didn't she go to school?
As a girl in the 50s growing up in Liberia, especially rural Liberia, children were expected not to go to school. They were expected to get married early, have children, and go to the farm. So when a missionary came to our part of the country that we were living in and asked for my mother to go to school, she really wanted to go to school. She was about 15, 16 years old at that time, and she had been betrothed to a chief. And so they had to ask the chief permission. My mother really wanted to go to school, so she asked if she could go. But when they asked the chief, he said no. What's the need of going to school when people needed to be on the farm? So she wasn't allowed to go to school. Instead, she was married off to the chief, and she started having children. My 4 sisters and I. So that's why my sister didn't go to school.
How did your mother come to the city?
Her first husband, the late chief, after he died, my mother, met my dad, and she had 3 other children, me and the other sisters. And with 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy, her best friend who was fortunate to have left to go to school, used to come from the city on vacation and talk about school. And so my mother wanted to go to the city, Monrovia. So my mother left with her children to go to Monrovia so that her children can have a better chance, especially her girls, because she knew that if she stayed in rural Liberia where she was, the same fate that befell her would have befallen her daughter. So that's why she came to the city. She came to the city so that we could go to school. And I remember during those days, we lived in a single room house, and I would hear my mother crying herself to sleep because she would work from sun up to sundown to put food on the table and to send her to school. And growing up, school fee was paid, books were bought, and that was it. There was not enough money for anything else, and sometimes food. So that's how my mother came to the city, so that we can go to school. And she always told us that, go to school, go to school, go to school.
Why is Ma Sarah's guest house so important to you?
Sarah Guest House is so important to me because it is a way of honoring the memory of my mother. It is a legacy. When I was growing up in rural Liberia, again in Monrovia, and as I went to school and I became educated, and I started to learn how to read and write, to speak formal English, I used to be ashamed of my mother. I wish I could say that she was always my hero. But growing up, when I was small, I used to be ashamed of my mother, because she didn't speak formal English. She didn't wear dresses like some of my friends' mom did at the time. She wasn't, culture. But as I got older, into high school, and I went to university and graduate school, I realized what a sacrifice she made, what a special woman she was. You talk about women liberation. My mother was a feminist. And so as I look back, I saw the sacrifices that she made for us. And it is because of her that I'm where I am today, and you guys are where you are today. And so she worked hard. She built a business. She left a legacy. She built that house. She left something for us to start with. And so now that she's gone, my Sarah Guest House is important to me because it is a way of honoring her legacy. It is a way of inspiring you too, her grandchildren and other young ladies that are coming up. It is a way of letting people know that no matter where you start from, you don't take no for an answer. You can forge ahead, and you can fight on it. You can have your dream. So that's why my Sarah Guest House is so important to me, to honor the memory of my mother.
What are some key life lessons that you learned from your mother?
Oh wow. So many key lessons that I learned. I was trying to be as brief as possible, but the first and foremost key lesson that I learned from my mother is never, ever, ever give up. I mean, my Aunt Sarah, they said she couldn't go to school, but that didn't stop her. I mean, yes, it stopped her because in the interior where she was, she couldn't go to school, but she got up, she mustered her courage, and she came to the city. And she always told us, go to school, go to school. I can still hear my mother's voice in my ear today. Every one of her children. She made sure we went to private schools. Books were bought. You know, if you asked for anything else, it wasn't enough. So she didn't give up. And as I said, even after becoming an adult, many years after, we attended Hayward Mission School on the Oro, and we attended the church. And I remember there was this Sunday school teacher, Brother Jones, who was teaching the adults, the seniors. And they had this adult education class to teach them how to read the Bible. And I will never forget that day when my mother stood up in the church during graduation and she could read the Bible and recite and read certain verses of the Bible. So that tells you that she always said, don't you ever let anybody tell you so you can't do anything. So stopping her as a child didn't stop her. She still went back to school, adult education, to learn how to read the Bible. And so I learned about grit, I learned about determination, I learned about not giving up. Another lesson I learned from my mother is business. She didn't have no formal education. When she came to the city, she worked from sunup to sundown to put food on the table. During the early days, it was tough. You know, that's why you shouldn't, both of you laugh at me to say that I have rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because we had rice for dinner and the leftover rice or so we had for breakfast to go during the day. But my mother was honest. She built a business, and some of the things she taught me was integrity and honesty. Whenever anybody came to my mother's table in Joba Market to buy from us and they forgot their change, my mother said, run after them and give them their change, because I don't want to buy money among my money. And she was, you know, she had integrity. I remember there was a civil riot in Monrovia, and some of the market women said that the money was lost. And my mother took the company's money, the cold storage money back. And because she was honest enough, to how come my mother became a distributor? Because she was honest with the dealing of the goods she was giving. The cold storage under okay, master, whatever amount of money that fish that you want, I will give it to you. And because I can trust you to bring my money back. So my mother became a distributor. She would take the cases of fish wholesale from the cold storage, and then she would give it to the market with me with a commission on top of it. And then things started getting better for us. And so I learned about business. And that's what I have always told both of you, no matter what you do business. If you look all around the world today, people that really got money, these are business people. You can have a career, don't get me wrong. School is very important. But a career will just get you by. But if you really, really want to make an impact, it's business people. For example, you know, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, just to name a few. So she taught me that business pays, and business, you know, you can rise above your circumstances if you're willing to work hard and be focused. You know, you can improve the life of your people. When my nieces and nephew were born, and now that you guys are here, things are so different now from where we live today. It's because our family have always been one that we're very tenacious. We do business, we do something. So she taught me about business. She also taught me about delayed gratification. I remember growing up as a boy, wanting a bike so bad because some of my friends had a bike and we could not afford it. And when I asked my mother, she said, well, I don't have money for a bike now, especially after paying school fees and you got to buy food. But she made a deal. She said, well, if you could come to the market and sell your fish, then you can buy your bike. And that was the best deal ever. During those days, I didn't know that she was teaching me something called delayed gratification. And so every day off, most weekend after school, I would go to the market, especially the weekends. I would get my case of fish. Yes, I sold fish in Joba Market, and I would save the profit. I had a cash bag that I could save the money in. During those days, the bag was $100. That was a lot of money. And so $5 here, you know, $2 here, $10 here. I worked almost a year to save up the $100 to buy that bag. I remember going to that bag store and emptying that cash bag on the on the countertop and pointing to the bag to say, I want that bag. And so I learned about delayed gratification. I learned about being patient. I learned about being disciplined. And those are lessons that I try to teach you every day. That's what I tell you to wait, wait for sales, think about what you're buying before you buy it and stuff like that. So I learned that to have integrity, to be reliable, to be trustworthy, to be truthful, and to be focused on what you want. I also learned about cleanliness. My mother always said she wanted to eat in her bathroom like she would eat in her kitchen. So her surrounding had to be clean. So that's why Mount Sarah Guest House is sort of a cleanliness, because when you grow up with four sisters and a mother, everybody tell you to clean up after yourself. And so now, thankfully, I hope I pick up that trait so that wherever I am, I like my surrounding to be clean. And I also want Mount Sarah Guest House to be a clean place to be. Those are some of the lessons that I learned from my mother.
And our last question, what advice would you give young people today?
If there's one advice I would give to young people today, especially girls, is don't you ever, ever, ever give up. Don't let anybody tell you what you can do or can't do, especially because of your gender, because of your race, because of your color, because of whatever. My Sarah could have given up and stayed in the interior, and maybe I won't be here today, and maybe you won't be here today. But because she was able to rise above the odds and face of fear and leave her comfort zone and come to the city, that is why I too left Liberia when the Civil War came. It wasn't easy leaving my people and coming to a country that I didn't know. But my mother had done it before, and I was coming when the Civil War came to Liberia so that whatever family I may have someday, they can have a better life. And that's why when both of you were old enough to learn about story, I always told you, say, my mother left the interior to come to the city that I can go to school. I left Liberia to come here so that you can be anything you want to be. And I'm so, so proud of you too, because the legacy continues today. Now, Sarah, you graduated from high school with flying colors. You are headed to university. And my Sarah is looking down from heaven and she's so proud. She's smart. She says, yeah, that's my granddaughter. And there you go, Samantha, you just graduated from middle school as a valedictorian with 5 academic honors. I couldn't have been more proud as you. So if I look at my life, as well as the life of my siblings and your cousins and everybody else, I can say because your great-grandmother left the interior, because she had a tenacity and she had the strength and she had the bravery to start over, to leave a comfort zone. Today your life is better. So as you go to university, follow your dream, work hard. It may not always be easy, but don't you ever, ever let anybody tell you what you cannot do. And the sky is your limit. With hard work and determination and focus and being focused, you can achieve anything with God's help and of course looking after your health. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the great response.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today to interview me. I have been wanting to tell her story. So when you come to Mount Sarah Guest House, you're coming for inspiration, you're coming for integrity, you're coming for family. We'll treat you like our own family. So thank you and welcome to Mount Sarah Guest House, and thank you.